This episode of The Pride Transformation is a continuation of my blockchain series where I sit down with folks working on the blockchain and different applications in that wonderful space. Today I sit down with Fred Krueger, who is the founder of Workcoin. Fred is a really, really smart guy. He went to Cornell, got a math degree from Cornell, and then went on to get a PhD from Stanford Operations Research and Statistics, which is basically data science degree. So smart guy. We talk about EOS, the EOS blockchain, quite a bit in this conversation. We talk about a really, really great project he's working on, which is EOS Lynx, which is actually probably, I'd say, one of the most usable wallets that I've come across in the crypto space generally. And I think probably one of the first, if not the first wallet that actually you can use on the EOS blockchain. So very, 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 very interesting conversation here. I hope you guys like this. Let's get started. Welcome to the Prior Transformation Podcast. I'm your host, Jimmy Smoots. In this podcast, we explore, actually, there's no we, it's just I. I'm the only person here. And really, I just ramble for 2 or 3 minutes on a technology or business topic. And occasionally, I'll interview some smart folks. If you like that kind of thing, enjoy. Welcome back. I'm here with Fred Krueger. Fred, thanks for jumping on with us today.
You're welcome.
So I'd love to kind of just hear, what you're doing now. So what are you working on? You're working on some stuff with EOS? And
yep. I am mainly working on a wallet right now and basically a front end to the EOS blockchain. And that's, I'm trying to figure out how to make actual consumer applications run on EOS. And that's kind of where I'm, scratching my brain trying to figure out how can we make EOS into, or in blockchain in general, into more of a consumer platform, and that's that's the goal here, and seems like it's starting to happen. So
yeah,
yep.
What kind of indicators do you seem to think?
Consumer adoption of my platform, which is and EOS in general, but the kind of key performance indicators are, how many wallets we've created, so we launched our wallet a month ago, and we've now have created 5,000 paid EOS accounts.
Oh, wow.
Which is, these are not people who just randomly just start creating. This is like they're paying. So 5,000 in a month. We have 1,000 daily actives now. And this is in a world of blockchain where, like the top game is 300 daily actives, crypto kitties. So it's like we're seeing some absolute traction numbers now that, it's obviously still super early, but it's like things are really starting to happen now. And for the first time ever, I feel like on blockchain. And, so I think you're going to start seeing, real apps developed real quickly on blockchain, which I think everybody's going to be surprised.
You think that's a function of EOS, or is it just maturity of the market generally?
I think there's 3 things that are going to happen, right? So first thing is, up until now, blockchain was synonymous for slow. Like, you send Bitcoin, you wait 10 minutes, you call the guy.
Yeah,
so did you get it? Yeah. Did you get it? And they go, well, maybe not. Ethereum's better, but not much better. It's like 2 minutes. EOS is 1 second. So,
wow.
So I think that's the first thing. The second thing is, we're starting to see, and there's no cost to send something, right? So it's not 100% a free lunch, but like I can send you 10 cents on EOS and you'll get it in 1 second, and it won't cost me 25 cents to send you 10 cents. It'll cost me 0. And so that's the thing. Wow. Free gas, free fast transactions. And then there's just a few other things. I mean, like, an interface that's consumer friendly and that supports an API that allows you to build to that blockchain without really knowing Solidity or smart contracts or anything like that. So I think there's a fundamental change as far as like how how people approach what is a blockchain app, right? Like right now, it's sort of like you hire 5 guys, you raise, somewhere between $2 and $20 million, and you pray. And that's that's pretty much what you need to do, right? And then if you're lucky, you have CryptoKitties, but it's sort of like it's you building these, people are building these very complicated Solidity apps under Ethereum, very complicated, and just to audit the apps. I mean, one woman from San Francisco called me up the other day, and she's like, we raised $1 million, but our app, just to audit it, the contract cost us $100,000. It's like, that's a one-time audit.
Yeah.
It's $100,000 just to audit the app. So, this you can't proceed like this, We need to be in an environment where a normal developer or two can build an app in 2 months, and that an app that kind of gets some traction.
So is that something that EOS allows you to do? I'm not super familiar with the white paper, but
can you do
it? I mean,
Here's the thing. EOS itself, right? You can't code up anything within 2 months. There's not a single. It's not because they haven't given you the primitives, right? So they haven't. There's no wallet on EOS, right? There's all you're left with is something like MetaMask called Scatter, and basically, it's just you can't create a consumer app on EOS in 2 months. No, you can't do it today. You can now with my EOS Lynx, right? With EOS Lynx plus EOS, right? Mm-hmm. Now you have a wallet that you can program to. You can ask the wallet, "Hey, give me 10 tokens." You know what I mean? And then the token, the wallet will authenticate and it'll give you 10 tokens. You don't have to build a wallet, So and if you think about it, like writing to the blockchain, authenticating a user, demanding some tokens. It's sort of the equivalent of like implementing Stripe, right? Like if you implement Stripe, I'm sure you have, right?
Yep.
Right? Yep. You got a simple API, you do a bunch of calls, and you've implemented it in half an hour, half a day. You know what I mean? Like you implemented Stripe. You can implement PayPal half a day. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so implementing blockchain should be half a day. That's the way I see implementing blockchain. So now you still have to kind of create all the business logic, all the, you have to make something interesting, you have to design it and everything else. But, building an application that interfaces with the blockchain should not be much more difficult than building an application that interfaces with Stripe or PayPal.
So are you guys focused on the developers? Is this more of a consumer wallet, or is this more of a Stripe?
So it's more of a consumer wallet, right? But in order to make the consumer wallet really super appealing to people, the wallet's got to have apps in it, right? So imagine the iPhone without any apps. Well, not so interesting, right? But the iPhone with a bunch of apps, super interesting. Okay. So that's kind of, our goal is the consumer, but in order to get the consumer, we have to hit the developer. We have to show the developers how to do this, and we have to first figure it out on our own, right?
So it's almost more of a platform than a wallet. It's not like your traditional Trezor where it's just
no, it's not a Trezor at all. No, I mean, look, I think the whole thing that we want to do is figure out how can we have this wallet talk to apps that you build, right? And so whether it's it could be an invoicing app, a point of sale app, a game, it could be a betting thing, it could be whatever it is, a DocuSign type app, whatever. There's a lot of great a voting app. There's a lot of great things you can do with blockchain, but all of them need sort of this user interface layer. And I can tell you 100% of them are not going to develop this thing on their own. It's just too difficult. And managing private keys, public keys, account recovery, passwords, all the rest, multiple platforms. No way you're going to do it on your own. And you shouldn't. And you shouldn't.
It is dangerous. There's a lot of risk.
It's dangerous. It's risky. It's like, and also users don't want to be sitting there like giving their private keys to 10 different apps. Yeah. So
cool. So what about the blockchain kind of grabbed you? Like, what's your?
So to me,
because your background,
my background is like software, right? So tech, Yeah. So I think the thing about the blockchain, there's really one fundamental killer app on the blockchain. I wasn't the person to see it, but somebody identified this and it really resonated. It was Andreas Andronopoulos, I think his name is. It was
Bitcoin guy. Yep.
Bitcoin Jesus or whatever the guy is. Right, whatever.
Yep.
But anyways, he said, look, the killer app of blockchain is money. And I really believe that. I think there's a lot of great applications, down the road for like real estate, right? But I really respect what like Propy's doing and trying to automate the real estate. But the killer app, that's not going to be the killer app. The killer app of the internet was email, right? Mm-hmm. That's what got everybody on the internet.
Yeah.
It wasn't initially. It wasn't websites because they sucked too much, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But the killer app of internet was email. Like even in the even in like the late 80s, early 90s, people were emailing like crazy, and then of course the web hit,
Yep.
But you had that the web worked because email was already there. You know what I mean? And here I think the killer app is money. So I think the great thing about blockchain is I can send you some form of value, whether it's a Bitcoin, whether it's an Ethereum token, whether it's an EOS token, whether it's a token to my party or whatever it is, right? I can send you some unit of value over the internet, and I can send it to you and I cannot ask for it back. Nobody can get it back from you. Once I've sent it to you, it's yours. And that to me was the fundamental thing that I was like, ooh, now that is interesting. The fact that I can send you something of value that I can't get back, that's rare, that's fantastic. Now, the fact that it takes 10 minutes and it costs me $2 to send it to you, that doesn't work for me. But, I love the fundamental, I think that's a fundamental innovation. And I think it's going to have just profound impact. It's just this. It has to be one small thing, and that is the small thing that I think it's amazing. It's just and of course I can send it to you, and I can kind of record it in posterity too, right? Mm-hmm. The fact that I sent you something, the fact that I sent you one little, Cozingo token.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah.
And the fact that it's written in the blockchain that I sent you on this day one Cozingo token, and the token there's like a little hash recorded, and that hash matches some file. Now we know that that I agreed on that file, and I sent you that hash on this day, and so it's amazing.
No, you think so, this is always a criticism I get from people who aren't in the industry, right?
Yeah.
PayPal works pretty good.
It works pretty good. So Venmo
works really good, right? So like, why do I need food?
So I would say there's about three reasons. Okay, so the first reason is that it doesn't work so good across countries, borders. Mm-hmm. So if you want to Venmo to India, good luck. Try that. Do not try that at home. It will not work.
They'll let you do it. Yeah.
What? PayPal sort of works, but doesn't quite work. I mean, there's limits. You can only Venmo $2,000, I think, a day is the maximum limit. You can have your PayPal account frozen. Okay, so It works pretty well for consumers. Doesn't work so well for merchants. As any merchant who's relied on PayPal will be like, ooh, actually, I don't like that. So I think the thing which with Bitcoin does and all the other blockchains they do is they're actually very merchant friendly, mm-hmm. right? So they enable, because when you got it, it's money good, right? And so I think that's a critical thing. That's one thing. And then there's the last thing I would say is that Amex doesn't work so well for machines, right? Like, so if you have a machine like a robot, right, and you want to kind of have that robot talk to other robots, mm-hmm. You kind of want to fill that robot up with digital quarters, and then the robot might, need some juice, and it might give one of these digital quarters to its charging station, right? That doesn't really work well when you can have Amex have a fraud alert, or that transaction wasn't good, and it was only recognized as bad 2 weeks later, and there was some human looking at it and say, oh, that was fraudulent. Okay, now let's go back through the whole entire chain of command. That robot actually bought some gas from this charging station. Well, that payment's not any good anymore. So we have to. So I think in order to have systems that pay each other and that that work really well digitally, you need something that is final, that just is final. That this money is good. And as an example, PayPal and Venmo are both terrible things for integrating in with systems. I don't know if you've built things with. Well, first Venmo doesn't integrate, but even PayPal, it's like.
Yep.
You're never 100% sure if you got the money.
Or even like ACH system is similar.
Right? Yeah, you can have clawbacks. Totally.
30-day window where I think it's 30 days or 90 days. Can't remember what it is for ACH. Same
deal, and it's a problem.
So, right? Huge issue.
So I think that one thing about like not being able to take the money back is a really big deal.
That's not really consumer friendly though. I mean,
it's not.
I agree with what you're saying. But it's just from a consumer perspective. I think about like my grandma, right? Yep. Using something where maybe she gets scammed, maybe something else happens, whatever, and she gets put in a situation where she sends money.
It's not one or the other; it's one and the other, right? So it's like in many cases, you want to have the consumer have all the rights, right? Mm-hmm. But do you want the recourse to be calling Visa or to be calling the marketplace? Like I would argue that. It doesn't matter. Like, for example, if it was like you paid Amazon the Bitcoin, if Amazon accepted Bitcoin, you paid Amazon the Bitcoin and you weren't happy with the thing, Amazon would refund you. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
So I just think that having this current system where something's wrong, you call the credit card company, a little funky. It's a little antiquated, Having said that, I do think that. So I think that we're going to have marketplaces. I think the marketplaces are going to offer consumers some form of protection or refund. But I think in general, you're going to have the ability to pay people in a non-recourse way, And you, at the end of the day, if I'm hiring you for a job and I pay you, you really don't want me to be coming back after you a week later and just taking the money back out of your account.
Yeah,
it just that doesn't work, Mm-hmm. So that's kind of where I see it. That's why I think it is kind of digital money. That's kind of what I think we've invented. Some form of digital money. Now that money might be U.S. dollars, or that money might be, it could be like a seat at the table of like a subscription to a health system or something. It could be It could be a lot of different kinds of money. It doesn't have to be dollars, but it's some unit of value.
So, kind of digging into that more.
Yeah.
Does the actual currency even matter at all? Does that become a software problem? Almost like packets, right? Where maybe I have.
I think it matters tremendously because
this coin.
Look, I think that most transactions that we do in the United States are going to be done in dollars.
Mm-hmm.
If I go to a lawyer and I say, I got this deposition to make, he'll be like, great, I bill out at $200 an hour. You know what I mean? He doesn't bill out at 0.015 Bitcoin per hour.
I think Perkins was taking Bitcoin last year. But, obviously, I don't know if they're doing it now.
Right. But I'm just saying, like, it's like, I feel like the dollar is, for us Americans, right?
Yep.
We and the reason is because it's stable, right? Like, $100 buys me pretty much the same thing as it did a week ago and a month ago and a year ago, right? You could say there's a little bit of inflation, but ballpark, the cost of the office, renting an office like this, is the same as it was last month.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. However, the price of Bitcoin, actually is about the same as it was last month.
Yeah, but the volatility
literally it could fall. It fell. Yeah, it fell 18% in one day.
Yeah, it was brutal.
One day.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. To me, that day illustrated to me why Bitcoin cannot be used for transactions, right? Because I can't go for a haircut and then the haircut goes, the barber.
While you're sitting there.
While you're sitting there getting your haircut, the barber loses 18% of their salary.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't work. So, I think that we're going to a stablecoin world. I really fundamentally believe that. I think stablecoins this time next year, we're going to be everything. Like 90% of all transactions are going to be stablecoins. Having said that, I think there's going to be a lot of other utility type coins. And the one I keep on going back to as kind of the model I like the most is the BNB token, right? Which is you want to trade on Binance, great. You buy this token and it's basically half the price, right? Mm-hmm. Right? So why wouldn't you do it, right? Mm-hmm. So you buy the BNB token and you get a massive discount on your trading fees. That's great. And so to me, it's like Barnes and Noble reward card. It's like it's like any one of these kind of systems. Like, would you like to buy a rewards card at Barnes and Noble? Well, it costs $20, but if you start using it, you'll save yourself a lot of money. So you and I probably both own these Barnes and Noble rewards cards, right?
Yeah.
And so it's the same thing with any of these kind of systems. It's like Sam's Club.
Yeah. Doesn't it create friction though? I mean, it seems like it's hard enough to get people to use your shit to begin with, right? So
I think it doesn't.
Now you have to get people to use your app and adopt your token. It's
Well, no, because I think to me it's like you should be able to use the app without using your token, right? You can buy. Okay, you can absolutely buy a book at Barnes and Noble without the Barnes and Noble discount card.
Okay, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Right, but if you have the discount code, it's better. You get it cheaper.
It's like a loyalty program.
It's kind of like 100%. All these things are going to be like loyalty programs, all these utility programs, right? And basically it's sort of like, and I realized that would work really well for even like a local coffee shop, right? Because it's sort of like this little coffee shop near me called Bondi Cafe. And I was like, they're like, yeah, we're kind of interested in crypto and everything. And I'm like, well, what if you had these things called Bondi bucks, right? Mm-hmm. And you could take these Bondi bucks and you could buy anything, you could buy the mugs, you could buy all this stuff, and you get a discount if you buy them with Bondi bucks, right? But you have to buy the Bondi bucks in advance. Oh, okay, well that's cool. That's great for the store, right? Because they get the cash flow, and then they can just buy the stuff with the Bondi bucks. They get a discount. So it's a way to prepay, the stuff. It helps the store's cash flow a lot, and it encourages loyalty. It encourages them to actually use the Bondi bucks. There's going to be some slippage. They sell some of them. They don't use them. That's great too for the store.
Yeah.
So, this whole kind of airline miles, rewards, loyalty, all that stuff to me is, it's just a complete no-brainer. And that's I think what these utility tokens become. And but it won't be like a unit of transaction. It's not like I'm going to be using, WeWork tokens to pay my WeWork rent. That I don't believe.
Well, unless you prepay. So maybe you buy an allotment of WeWork tokens at the beginning
exactly,
of the year.
And then they're cheaper, right?
Yeah, I got it. So you get 20% discount as a result of whatever.
Yeah.
And it's a benefit from the consumer's perspective because now I can offload on the marketplace, right? I have this liquid asset that, oh shit, well, I want to get rid of it because maybe it's gone up in value or whatever.
Right.
Okay, that's interesting. And then you mentioned stable coins.
Yeah.
You want to explain what that is just for the listeners?
Oh, yeah. So a stable coin is basically, it's a coin that is designed to track the dollar, let's say the dollar. I mean, it could be the euro or the yen, but there's a bunch of them that are tracking the dollar. And there's a number of ways to do that, and they're all pretty smart. Okay, so one way to do it is just say, well, I've got the bank account, I got $1 million in the bank account, and I'm going to have these IOUs that are against the $1 million. And by the way, you can go to the bank and cash out the IOUs and get dollars. Right, so that's pretty good.
It's like the gold standard almost, but
it is sort of the gold standard. But I quite like this other model by MakerDAO. And the MakerDAO model is great. So we'll allow you to issue DAI tokens against your Ethereum. Okay, so if you have, let's say, $200 in Ethereum, we'll allow you to issue you $100 in MakerDAO tokens. Okay. However, if you start getting below 1.3 times the collateral, you will be liquidated, okay? And your Ethereum will be liquidated at the market, and then we'll just give you back whatever the dollar's value is of those, right? So so if you think about it, right, you're over collateralized to start, okay? If you hit sort of a threshold above where your is, so 30% above, you're going to get liquidated. So you don't really want to do that, right? So you're going to really double up your collateral, and you have plenty of time to add more collateral, right? Then if you're liquidated, they even have another level of buffer, which is if suddenly Ethereum dropped 30% one day, which it did, right? You still they can sell more maker tokens, which is sort of their equity tokens, to make up the gap. Okay, so they'll sell the Ethereum and then they'll sell the stuff, the maker tokens. So, it could potentially fail if there was this massive crash and Ethereum went to zero in one day, right? But, it's held up. If you look at MakerDAI, it's actually held up very well. So, there's a bunch of ways to kind of make a token stable. And there's one other way, which is even more complex, which is what this company Basis is trying to do. I don't know if it's going to work or not. They've raised $100 million, so presumably it will work.
That's the base token guy, the Andreessen funded.
Yeah, Andreessen funded. So, whatever. There's a bunch of very clever guys who've come up with very clever ways.
It seems complicated.
Seems very complicated.
There's like bonds or something. I don't fully understand.
Yeah. No, basically they've got like bonds and equity, and so they're basically, if their token starts trading badly, they basically start buying back their own token using equity, and I don't know. It's honestly, it's like, I'd like to see it work a little bit before I would jump in there with my own money. Mm-hmm. But it's one of those kind of very Rube Goldberg-esque contraptions.
Sounds like the economy,
right? It's modeled after the economy. They have sort of like the Federal Reserve of Basis. And,
really? They have guys who they got somebody who's doing quantitative easing on the.
They do. Exactly. That's the whole.
Terrifying. Because who is that guy?
It just seems like it's like, why would you model your something after something that seems to have so many problems?
Yeah.
But that's kind of what they did. But I don't want to say anything bad about it, because I said some bad stuff about like MakerDAI, and then I met somebody from MakerDAI, explained it to me, and I'm just like, oh, actually, it makes complete sense. So I'll just say that I don't understand it.
Okay.
And I think you don't understand it either. Neither of us are qualified to talk about it.
Yeah.
And there's some super smart guys behind that company. And obviously Mark Andreessen invested, so he's probably smarter than both of us combined.
Yeah, smart guy. Smart guy for sure. And so you said that you think the base coin, the stable token model is going to be 90% like a large number of the transactions in the next few years?
Oh yeah.
So what's driving that thinking?
Well, I just think that I think transactional crypto is going to be a thing. I think apps are going to start needing to use stablecoin as the basis for their app, and these stablecoins are a new thing. There is this Tether thing, but
good old Tether. Yeah.
Good old Tether, and there's 3 billion of it, and it's plagued with a lot of problems. They won't release their bank account information. Yeah. They won't, so everybody's like, okay, this thing is maybe not backed by anything. We don't know, right? Maybe it's just some big Ponzi scheme. We don't know.
Yep.
I have no way of knowing, really. It's just looking at these rumors. I have no idea. But, they haven't, what's fishy is that they haven't come out and said, we're using XYZ bank. I don't understand why because
I don't think anybody will bank them, to be honest. I think it's probably somebody's personal bank account is what I would bet. It's some Hong Kong bank account from some Saudi guy, something, right, that we don't even want to know about.
I think that probably the ultimate thing is maybe, right, the source of the money is not as clean as it could be.
Could be that too.
Maybe people are using it that shouldn't be using it.
Yeah.
I don't know,
Yeah.
But if you look at True USD or Circle or this new Gemini coin, right?
Yeah.
These are AML KYC certified coins. Every single person who holds it is going to be, is going to be passing the anti-money laundering stuff. There's 100% compliance there. So, I think those coins are very interesting, and I think that's the future, and I think they're going to be extremely successful, I think it'll be, and I think it'll be so successful that, because let's say you're running a coffee shop. You can't say Bitcoin accepted, because you as the owner, you have no idea what the price of Bitcoin is.
You don't want
today.
to.
And you don't want to know, right?
Or maybe you do as a gimmick. It's like a marketing thing.
Right.
You know that 1 out of 30 guys is going to try it and probably won't work, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, right. But, I mean, if you said, we accept stablecoin here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the guy says, okay, how much is the coffee? It's $5.42. The guy goes, okay, cool if I pay in stablecoin? Yeah, sure. I mean, what merchant's not going to turn that down?
Yeah,
right?
That's true. Yeah, because
it's $5.42, and it'll be tomorrow $5.42, right?
Yeah. Well, as long as the issuer is still around, right? So that's the big risk is if I have a Gemini, I don't know what they call it, but if I have Gemini stablecoin, if they go under, what does that look like? So
well, it's bank. It's like FDIC improved.
Oh yeah, that's true.
These are held in actual.
No,
These are held in legit banks.
Yeah.
So, I think you're. The chance of this stuff going to zero is zero. To be honest, you gotta fear the entire banking system.
It's
at
a
that
bank
point.
issue at that point. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think they have supplemental insurance on top of that.
Yeah, banks are going to require it. So that's the thing. The bank will force them to do these things.
Well, that's the other thing is I think you're going to start seeing some banks getting very interested in this.
Okay.
Because the same thing is true about, say, coffee shops. Banks are not in the business of selling Bitcoin.
Yeah.
But if you say, hey, bank, are you in the business of taking in dollars and issuing certificates against those dollars?
Yeah.
Banks are like, hey, you're talking our language here. Wait, we get to keep the interest on that? Yes, you do. The banks are going to be like, oh, we like that.
Yeah. So Bank of America token is in the future.
Totally.
This is what you're thinking. Okay.
And the Wells Fargo token, and
So here's the next question. How are the consumers going to manage all these tokens? So am I going to have a portfolio now of tokens? Am I going to need some kind of meta way of managing this?
Because I think what people are going to accept generally are going to be the stable coins, right?
Okay.
That's what you're going to. When you walk into the store, the cafe, when you walk into the retailer, or when you're sending money to your employees or anything, you're going to be sending them dollars. Okay. Now you can still have the health. You can have the Equinox token, which gives you discounts to the Equinox, and you're going to have the Barnes and Noble token, which will give you some books if they're even around. I don't know.
Amazon. It'll be Amazon. So
whatever. Yeah, it'll be the Amazon token, which will give you right.
Yeah.
And
everything.
which I definitely want some of those tokens. But there's going to be a bunch of these kind of other tokens, and they're not going to be used as sort of they're going to be used in a specialized thing. There'll be the Workcoin token, the Upwork token, whatever it is. There's going to be different kinds of tokens for different services that have certain uses in those services, and then there's going to be tokens for like games, right? So there's going to be the armor token. There's going to be the sword, the fire secret power token, the Pokemon tokens, and those tokens are going to be non-fungible tokens. Which means that they're all unique. That this particular sword there's only 6,000 of them, and I have one. I have number 5,422. I'm going to give you that token.
And then all of the tokens that are pegged on the dollar will just be accepted everywhere. That's kind of what you're thinking.
I think
you walk into a coffee shop, and it'll be almost like a Visa list or something. Like the credit card list.
Yeah. We take Diners Club.
Yeah, whatever it decides. Okay.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. Okay. That's interesting. So you decided to build on EOS, and you kind of talked about why you guys have really pushed EOS through the development process.
Right now you only have one choice. I mean, if you want to build an actual app that people are going to use.
Hey, CryptoKitties gets some use, some. usage. I mean, it crashed
Yeah.
Ethereum when it first came out. So.
Look, Ethereum is, I'm a big Ethereum basher.
As am I.
I'm hoping that they get I'm hoping it motivates them to get their act together. But I think they can, right? Like, it's not impossible, but they aren't motivated. They don't seem to be particularly motivated to do it right now. I think EOS is going to be that kick in the rear end that gets them motivated, because I think they need to get Plasma and Casper to work, because if they don't, they're toast. Okay, they've got a year. They got about a year, and if they get that stuff to work in a year, Ethereum's going to do great. Because there's a lot of Ethereum developers, a lot of people still like that thing. But there are also now a lot of people are starting to look at EOS very, very seriously, and they're going to start developing in that. And look, Bitcoin also, as you know, Lightning.
Yep.
That's another possibility.
Yep.
And then Hashgraph's coming along, and that's a possibility. Our chain is probably going to release in 6 months. That looks interesting. There's a bunch of stuff coming down the pike.
So what would you say are the couple of things that have to happen for Ethereum to kind of go to zero effectively from a market perspective and usage?
It will never go to zero, but Ethereum has advantages over EOS, right? It is more decentralized than EOS, right? Which means that it is more safe than EOS. It doesn't have the 21 block producer problem that EOS has, right? All these criticisms are valid, right? And so I would say, if you're going to do something that's, let's say you're using it as the basis for a security token or something, it's a little disconcerting that's you only have 21 block producers, and if they all ganged up, they could start moving your ownership of equity around, which they could. Is it going to happen? No. But, it's less secure than Ether. You know what I mean? So, and ultimately, I want the world to be decentralized, and I want everything to work like Ether's supposed to work, right? And Hashgraph's supposed to work. Like, I want that. I'm not saying I don't want that, but I want that. I think that we're not going to get there right this second doing what Ether's doing. We'll probably get there in 3 years, I think, I really think that probably Casper, sidechains, Plasma, all this stuff, it's going to work eventually, right? And I think Ether could really come back, it could, it really absolutely could. Okay. But right now you cannot build on it, but today, so, and what I think we need to do is I think we need to first develop the apps on EOS, right? We need to understand how apps work, how interfaces work, what it means to use the blockchain. How does that work? How does it mean to send some tokens from you to me to you? How to exchange those tokens for dollars, and how to do all that stuff, right? We have to build all those things. Once we figure all that out and we really understand that, let's now start focusing on decentralizing it, right? Let's make sure there's not just 21 points of failure. You know what I mean? Let's really decentralize it, and have a completely, and that's the thing I admire about Bitcoin, right? It's unhackable, right?
But it's just cash. There's no real, the scripting language is okay. It's decent, but it's just cash. I mean, even then it's bad cash, right? 20-minute block times, it's a,
Right, but I'm just saying what I admire about it is, it's, other than Bitmain, right? There's, if you're not like a major mining pool, there's just absolutely it's pretty much impossible to hack. So,
well, now you said that you think the world should be decentralized.
Yeah.
Why? That's interesting thought.
Because I think that big institutions can't quite be trusted. Like, I think we've seen it in 2008, right? We know that banks can do, or insurance companies can do really bad stuff. And we know that they're motivated to do that because they're beholden to their shareholders and their profit numbers and everything else. And so unfortunately, we had this problem with the banks like fixing the LIBOR rates. You know what I mean? So, it's just like you can't quite trust these institutions, and you can't quite trust many governments. I don't know if we can trust our own government. You know what I mean? But certainly the Turkish government cannot be trusted.
Oh, no.
I mean, no, you actually can't trust them to do exactly the worst thing. You know what I mean? The Venezuelan government can be trusted to destroy the economy, 100% guarantee, you know what I mean? So we need we need an infrastructure that just where that we don't have to trust the government, we don't have to worry that the government's going to be doing some faulty accounting or doing all these things. So that's what I love about the vision of Ethereum, I think, and the vision of Bitcoin and everything else, right? I also think that the reality is we need these shorter block times, we need app stuff, we need to...
It's got to get used, right?
We got to get it used, and we got to start... It's sort of like the way through, to me, is not just brute force attack.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think we're going to have to find a way around this, and we'll get there. I have no doubt that we're going to get there. I have no doubt that all the dreams and visions of everybody in this community are going to be fulfilled. And then we're going to get that decentralized thing, and we're going to have decentralized banks and lending and all the rest. I think we will get there, and I think probably Wells Fargo and Citicorp and JP Morgan, kind of dinosaurs,
Okay.
I definitely think, my 11-year-old is not going to probably have a bank account, in 20 years. I mean,
okay. That's interesting.
He'll have a bunch of keys or something, and there may be something that just keeps cash, and it has, is a stablecoin repository or something. But the experience of opening a branch account, banking, it's like, let me sit down with you. Here's your checkbook. I don't see that.
So who has the cash in that scenario? So if I'm your 11-year-old, you said, 20 years from now,
probably
I
20
own
years.
stablecoins.
Who the government will just issue the stablecoin.
Okay, so it'll just be the U.S. dollar, but completely digital.
Yeah.
Distributed by Treasury, I guess, or the Mint, or whoever it is.
Yeah.
Interesting.
No need for ATMs.
Yeah.
No need for
point. Yeah.
No need for ATMs. Yeah. No need for dollar bills. Right. There will not be such thing as a dollar bill. There'll just be digital dollars that you hold in. That's it. Right.
Yeah, it's interesting because then the new services, there's a lot of opportunity there because new services will be lending services and mortgage and all these things that banks do now.
Correct.
Will get fragmented. It'll be completely distributed throughout a bunch of different entrepreneurs and opportunities. That's a pretty compelling future.
Yeah, and there's not going to be also the way banks exist right now. They're kind of like, what is a bank useful for? I mean, not much right now, right? So I mean, basically, the average guy has somewhere between $1,000 and $10,000 in their checking account plus or whatever. And the banks are just reaping a little bit of fees on that.
$3 at a pop,
right? They're just
nothing.
They're just like doing nothing, right?
Go to ATM. That's $3. Go do this.
And at the end of the day, they're just moving bits, and then they've got all these branches that are at this point idiotic, right? You walk into the branch, and nobody's doing anything. You have to wait in line to talk to somebody who's just looking at a screen, interpreting that screen for you. We're living in this kind of Kafkaesque. I'm gonna sort of wrap up, but we're living in this kind of Kafkaesque reality now, and so
there you have it. All right, cool. Well, thanks for sitting down for a couple minutes.
Yeah, enjoyed it, man.
Yeah, we'll try to connect again in the future to see how this all this stuff's panning out.
Well, we'll see.
Yeah, is there anywhere that people can keep track of you? Or
I would like to say just a little plug. Download my wallet on eoslynx.com. EOS Lynx, and you can find it in the App Store as well.
All right, cool. We'll put that in the show notes.
Yeah, please.
Thanks, Fred.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Thanks, Jeremy.